Hey everybody, hello my Com 1007 Tuesday morning friends. So thanks for the live session this morning. It's always a little bit crazy when we're using Blackboard Collaborate, but hopefully everybody's feeling okay and feeling on board with everything. Excuse my toque. With quarantine, I haven't had a haircut in a really long time, very long time. So anyways, I just wanted to make a quick video here just to clarify some things in case they were a little bit confusing. Uh, so the first thing I want to say is that you guys are in general arts and sciences, which is a pretty open degree, and it allows you guys to have all kinds of diverse interests, and so it's a little bit less compact or less the same than in other program areas that I've taught. So we talked about it a little bit in class this morning, and we talked about what topic you guys wanted to do for your first assignment. And so what we've ended up doing is I said, well, I've got three different topics that I have stuff ready for, and the lessons are completely ready. And so I'm just uploading all of them, and you guys can choose the one that interests you the most. Now, I just want to clarify that a little bit. Uh, for the week 2 lesson, it is the same lesson no matter which version of the file you're downloading. It's going to talk about all the same stuff in terms of our course skills. But throughout the lesson, I'm using examples from one specific subject, and I am uh, providing an article that's different according to the three different subjects. And so you can choose whichever version of the lesson you want, and it will be the same in terms of our learning skills, in terms of what's required of you. And the only thing that's different is the specific topic that's being covered. Now, the topic that you're choosing now is going to be the topic that you're writing about for the first written assignment. So you'll be writing about it this week in the discussion board just for the exercise. And then in week 3 and week 4 a little bit, you'll be writing the first short assignment, which is the persuasive paragraph. Um, so the three topics you can choose from are, first of all, brain-computer interfaces, and that's a topic that I did teaching COM 1007 to computer engineering students. But you don't have to know a lot about computer engineering. It's just if that interests you, if you are interested in reading a little bit and writing a little bit about brain-computer interfaces, that's the one you want to choose. Uh, the second one that you can choose, this is one I did with my architecture students and my building technology students, and it's specifically about housing. And it's pretty contemporary because it's about housing crises that are happening in Canada, in Ontario, as a result of COVID. And so it's about COVID rent relief and what the uh, government's responsibilities are and what the responsibilities are of individual landlords. So that's a more political one for sure, but just as controversial. Uh, and the third lesson, or third topic, I should say, because they are the same lesson. But the third topic is on gender neutral parenting, and this is one that I did with my early childhood education students. And so it's about the trend among progressive parents, or some might say radical parents, who want to be more free of the constraints of gender, right? The impact on our development that gender has and the gender binary between men and women. And so people who are pursuing gender neutral parenting, that means that they are raising their kids and they're not identifying them with a specific gender until they reach an age when they are able to choose their gender for themselves. Now, for this one, it's important to understand the concept of gender as a construct, And all that really means is that there's a separation between the behavior and how you identify as a person with clothes and behaviors and sets of values. Um, there's the outside performance of it, which is our gender, and then there's the physical sex, which has more to do with what's between our legs, the hormones, and everything like that. And so gender neutral parenting doesn't only mean, oh yeah, girls can play soccer and boys can be interested in ballet or whatever. It means that the parents are literally saying, this is my child, Alex, right? It's often a gender neutral name. Is my child Alex, and they are gender neutral. And so other people don't know what the genetic sex is, and Alex, the child, would be able to choose their own gender when they reached a certain age. So, I hope I made that more clear and not more confusing. But what I wanted to say is just that you've got those three different topics. Ultimately, we're all doing the same work. We're all going to be posting in the same discussion board. Um, but you can choose whichever lesson covers that topic for the examples, and that will help prepare you for the outline. Or, geez, sorry, I'm tired. It'll prepare you for the discussion board. So, a couple more things. The discussion board, again, we're all doing it on the same thing. Now, there's only 6 people in this class, so it's not going to get too overwhelming. But just keep in mind that just because you choose to do one topic and another student chooses to do a different topic, you can still comment on their post. You can give them positive feedback. Even if you've decided to do brain-computer interfaces because that's the one that interests you, you probably still know a little bit about, COVID rent stuff. You still have that in the back of your mind. But just remember that for the discussion board, you're going to make a post of your own, which I'll talk about in a moment. And you're also going to comment on the post of one other student. And for that post, you really don't need to, don't try to correct them if you feel like they made a mistake in the claim or anything like that. Don't try to teach them. That's not really your job. That's my job. Don't take my job. But what you can do is you can just offer them a little bit of support, a little bit of help. And again, because people are doing different topics, it actually makes it easier to help each other because you don't have to feel like, oh, this is my evidence. If I'm doing this topic, I don't want to share my evidence with other people because you're actually doing a whole different topic. And so if there is an article or an idea or something you were thinking about that would be good for one of the other topics, that's great. Share it. Be supportive, right? This is how we build community. This is how we learn together. And this is how we become better as writers. Last thing I want to say about the discussion board is that, so there's really 2 parts. Commenting on somebody else, that doesn't have to be very long, like 1 or 2, maybe 3 sentences long. Don't overdo it. It's just a little bit of friendliness and a little bit of support, right? Don't make it too long. But the main part is that you are going to be making a post of yourself. Now, this post is going to include 2 things. It's going to include the claim that you're going to be trying to prove as part of your argument when we get to week 3. The second thing it's going to include is the brainstorming that you come up with in terms of the support that you could use to back up that claim. So right off the bat, I want to emphasize that we haven't talked about about paragraph structure yet, and we do a whole big lesson on that in week 3. So what I absolutely don't want you to do is to write a full paragraph and put it in the discussion board, because then you're really you're kind of skipping steps. It may even feel easier for you to do that way, but I'm asking you not to because I want us to try it this way. I want us to separate out the brainstorming and the thinking stage versus the structuring stage. And that's just a way for me to be able to explain those two stages a little bit more clearly. Sorry, I got lost in my own corn maze there. For the claim, that's a really important part. That's probably the most important thing you're doing in this discussion board, is trying to come up with a claim. And when you go through the slides for this week, one of the most important slides that I really want you to pay attention to is the slide that focuses on claims. And it focuses on what makes a good claim, not for an essay, not a thesis, but a focused claim for a one-paragraph argument. And I want you to try to really pay attention to that and think about it when you're coming up with your claim for the discussion board on your topic for this week. Is that we're not, for this topic that you're working on right now, we're not aiming towards a big essay. We're not aiming towards something that's long. It's only one paragraph. And we really have to make sure that the size of our claim, the scope of our claim, fits with the size of our paragraph. In other words, if you were writing about brain-computer interfaces, saying brain-computer interfaces are going to revolutionize the world and change everything we thought we knew about psychology and technology. That is a claim, right? That's a point of view, that's an opinion. And you could maybe prove that, or try to support that, I should say, in a longer essay or a book, right? I mean, but it's such a big, broad claim that there's no way that could possibly be accurately supported in one paragraph. It's too big, and it's not taking into account the size of the argument. Something more appropriate to one paragraph would be something very, very focused, like brain-computer interfaces can help people who are suffering from Alzheimer's, right? Much more precise, much smaller. It's not making a definitive statement about whether BCI is good or bad, but it's still making a meaningful claim, and it's able to actually prove it. So there's a few other criteria I want you to pay attention to, but just keep in mind that you're going to do the claim, and I want you to write that claim out in the discussion board. Then you can have point form brainstormed support. It doesn't have to be your finished support. It's just part of the brainstorming process. And just that I want you guys to really pay especially close attention to the claim slide, the specific claim slide, and the audio on the claim slide in this week's lesson. Because the claim is the foundation of the argument, right? Everything else builds off of that argument. So we want to get, as a first step, we want to definitely get our claim hammered down, get a really good claim, and then we can start to figure out what our support is going to be. Okay, guys, I hope that clarifies some things. In terms of the three different versions of the lesson, you may notice, because I taught those versions of the lessons at different times, so you may notice some stuff where I'm like, oh, summer's finally here, or I think in one of them I say something like, oh, Blackboard is going to be down on Friday. That stuff doesn't apply to you guys. It's just that I wasn't able to update 3 separate versions of the lesson in time. So just keep in mind that you know, the Nick that's talking to you in some of those lessons, that's past Nick. I'm still here. If you have questions, email me, and I will talk to you guys very soon. All right.